If you've ever had to move your aquarium, one wrong move and you could lose all your fish or all your plants, or even lose the tank itself. So in today's video, I'm gonna show you guys how to have a 100% success rate when moving your tank from point A to point B without losing fish. Now, before you even touch the tank, make sure you have these things on hand. You'll need buckets, nets, blankets to protect things, air pump if you're traveling over a long distance, and the only other thing you might need, if you're traveling over a long distance with your fish, or your fish are going to be out of their tank for a long time, you know those little hand warmers that you get that you put inside your pockets and you can put your hands in your pockets and it keeps them really warm? Those also double as a great long-term fallback heater for your fish. Preparation is what makes this smooth. So let's dive straight into the steps. I've boiled it down to roughly 8 steps to make sure it goes super smooth. Step 1, take a picture of your Aquascape. I can't even tell you how many times I started breaking down my tank and then tried to rebuild it in its same magnificence, and it's missing the mark every single time I rebuild the tank. And so you sort of just fall out of love with your Aquascape and then start from scratch again. So take a picture, rebuild using that picture, trust me. Number 2, fill up buckets with your fish tank water and then net your fish into those buckets. Keep in mind, fish are experts at hiding. It's how they stay alive out in the wild. So even though you think you've caught all of your fish, likely that you haven't. There'll be a bristlenose staying somewhere, or there'll be something still living in there. So keep that in mind when you fully drain your tank. Step 3, take care of your plants. Now's the time to sort of uproot all of your plants, put them into one spot, wrap them in paper towel, and then put that in a plastic bag. That seems to be the way that my plants really don't skip a beat. It's 100% humidity in there, and there's a low chance of your plants drying out entirely, because remember, when plants dry, they die. Number 4, and this is to avoid serious problems like tank crashing in the future. Once you've drained your tank, do not remove all of the water. Keep the substrate moist and keep your filters wet. The moment your filters dry out or your substrate dries out, the beneficial bacteria that's absolutely essential for the nitrogen cycle to keep on moving and your fish staying alive, they start to die off, which means the life-giving capacity of your tank slowly reduces. We don't want it to reduce down past the stocking level that you currently have in your tank. Otherwise, you are gonna have ammonia problems, nitrate problems, nitrite problems, and that sucks. Step number 5 is transport. If you're transporting a big tank, yoga mats and styrofoam are your best friend, because likely you're gonna be using straps to keep your tank stable. Hopefully you guys can actually see this tank here. I'm hoping I'm not just pointing off scene here. If the front panel or the long piece of glass overlaps the side panel, you're all good. You can strap the front of the glass. However, if this panel of glass was actually extending out and this panel was butting up against here, do not strap the front of that glass. Your silicone bead will bust. Also avoid strapping over the top of tanks. I've done it plenty of times and nothing bad's happened, but when you strap over the top of the tanks, it generally puts pressure down on the silicone bead, and that can also cause issues too. They're not big issues, and they may not be an issue right now, but it weakens the bead. Every single time you stress the silicone, it weakens the bead, and we do not want that. So simply pad the outside of your tank, pad underneath the tank if it's a rough surface that you're putting it on, and strap away. Do not overcrank those ratchet straps. Now, when it comes to transporting your fish, they're going to stay alive for a decent amount of time just in a bucket from the movement of the water just sort of shaking up and allowing gases to escape and enter the actual water. Now, for the purpose of actually moving your fish, let's break it down. If you are moving this over a short distance, then using bags might be a good idea. If you're going over a longer distance or you have larger species of fish, you're gonna have to go for a bucket because it's going to be a larger mass of water, which means it loses its heat slower. Very important. Moving on to step 6, resetting up. Now, make sure you've got a level floor wherever you're putting this thing, or you're prepared to level your tank if the floor isn't level. If you were smart enough to and had the facilities to, maybe you filled up buckets and buckets of water from your old fish tank to put into the new fish tank. If you didn't, no big deal. Just try and favor the water that did come out of the fish tank, like the water that's currently in the buckets or bags with your fish. Now that you have your tank level and set up in its new spot, it's time to move on to number 7, heating the water up and resetting up all of your equipment like your filters, etc., etc. So start with the heaters. That's the number one thing. I always keep a few extra 300 watt heaters on me so that when it comes time to reheat the water, it's done a lot faster, which means my fish go in the tank a lot faster. Don't put your beautiful fish that you've worked so hard to move into a cold tank. They will have a really tough time adjusting to the temperature, and that's one of the biggest causes of fish losses. Moving on to number 8, acclimation of your fish or getting them ready for their new home. What I want you to do now, go ahead and get a thermometer, put it in your current fish tank water, and then test the temperature. If the temperature is slightly higher than the temperature in your bags, get moving on setting up drip acclimation. Try to not mix all of the buckets or bags into one big bucket and then drip acclimate that, because different chemical changes may have happened in the gases, etc., during the move, which means the pH of each of those waters might be out. The temperature will definitely be out. It's important to drip acclimate each body of water as if it was its own separate body of water and has its own separate fish in it, because it is. Once you've acclimated your fish for half an hour, or maybe an hour if your fish are more sensitive or something happened during transport, add your fish to the new tank and cross your fingers. Set up your filters and set up your lights. It helps to be able to see what you're working with. Once everything's up and running and your fish are in the tank, you're almost there, but you are not out of the woods yet. The next 24 hours to 3 days even can be a highly fluctuating time in your tank. So it's important to keep your eyes on that tank over the next couple days. And that's it. The tank is moved, the fish are happy, and we avoided all of the big mistakes that people usually fall victim to. If this video helped, hit the subscribe button. And if you want to watch me build a really lush Dutch style aquascape, hit this video right here. Otherwise, catch you on the next one.